This impressive 27,000 square foot environmentally sustainable building has been MCA Denver's home since 2007. We learn about this special member of Denver's Central Platte Valley neighborhood from its director and chief animator, Adam Lerner. We begin by learning about his unique job title.
Most museum directors would refer to themselves as, say, director and chief curator. But I don't want to just care for objects, which is what the original meaning of curator is. I want to bring objects to life, to animate them for my viewers. That's what we try to do at the museum. You know, I think of museums not as temples or as sort of isolated places apart from everyday life. What really interests me is how it is that a museum is an energizing force for a neighborhood and for a city. I almost think of the museum as a kind of like a battery pack or something like that. Or maybe even, you know, the Museum of Contemporary Art, we have a heart in front of the museum, and it's maybe, we're like the heart center, breathing oxygenated creative blood into the neighborhood, into the city, and then drawing back the creativity of the neighborhood back into its home. That's really the way I see our museum. We're really fortunate to be at the heart of a very dynamic neighborhood. So our challenge and what we see as our task is to draw some of that energy and see how we can participate in that as well, while still providing some of the gravitas around art. And that relationship between the sort of gravitas and art and the energy of the creative life of a neighborhood and a city is really what makes up who we are. My vision for the museum really is a place that both explores the tradition of art and continues a very long tradition of art. And, you know, in the West, certainly you could think of back to Michelangelo or whoever you want to sort of locate at the beginning of our tradition, into the experiments that make up the present, on the one hand, and on the other hand, exploring not so much the tradition of art, but maybe what might not even be considered art, the sort of creative life of a city, the sort of DIY or do-it-yourself energy of a city. Those folks who are the fantastic chefs and the people who are the great bartenders and the people who are you know, the great fashion designers, or all the people who are part of the creative energy of a city. Here at MCA Denver, we have both the sort of world-class art exhibitions and also world-class mixologists. And that combination defines the vision of our institution. The Museum of Contemporary Art is really connected to the urban fabric. So you walk up the ramp to the museum and you walk into the space almost as if it's like a continuation of the walk along the sidewalk. But then when you walk through the galleries, you flow in and out of these porous spaces, almost like you're continuing your walk through an urban environment. It really is the big corridors are just as important as the spaces that they contain, these very, very beautiful gallery spaces. We're very fortunate to have had the benefit of world-class architecture. David Adjaye is really a master. And one thing that he did for us is throughout the building, he opened up views into the neighborhood. You know, it's funny, because when he built this building in 2007, the neighborhood wasn't yet even built up at all, but he really had a sense of it as being a part of an urban fabric, really connected to the fabric. And I really see us as that kind of organization. You know, the traditional art museum has almost always been surrounded by a kind of moat of grass. You know, it's almost, if you, like the Metropolitan Museum has got Central Park, and if you go to Cincinnati or Cleveland or any of the large, older sort of 19th century style museums, there's always a large sort of parkland, as if the museum is an oasis apart from the energy of the city. But we're a part of the fabric of this very vibrant neighborhood and very vibrant city. One of the signature qualities of MCA Denver is our commitment to high school age teenagers. And we have an open door policy for teenagers so that they're all always free to the museum, thanks to a generous gift from the David and Laura Mirage Foundation. And that is just the backbone of a whole range of programming that we offer for teens. So we have, at the very center of it, this program we call the Failure Lab. And that's a program, it's a leadership program where we select 12 teens from high schools around the city, and they create the programming for their peers. So that means that they create a teen art show, they have a teen lecture program, there's a teen music night, they're even organizing a pajama party at the museum. I mean, this is the kind of programming that they create for their teams because we want to be the place that says we are welcome for all teens in the city. We show artists from all over the world, so people can see one day a selection of paintings by Denver-based artist Ian Fisher, beautiful cloud paintings. The next day they might see Brooklyn-based artist Rashid Johnson, who brought in a massive irrigation system covered with shea butter, and that was in the corridor. International artists, Adrian Genia from Romania. He had his first US Museum exhibition here at MCA Denver. So we are constantly scouring the globe to show our visitors a wide range of what counts as advanced, experimental, challenging, delightful art today.